Chapter 4 Khalil Khalil had been traveling for a full day. The battle with the dragon and taking time to gain enough energy to travel had taken half a day by itself. That meant Eric and Tony would have reached the farms already. Khalil had assumed they would head back home at a slow, steady pace in order to escape the dragon's detection. Knowing that was not a problem, Khalil had attached Barb's horse to his and raced full speed ahead to their home. Now, he was half a day away from home. Soon, he heard the sounds of horses nearby. He redirected his horse to find the source of the noise. He came into a clearing that had Tony and Eric eating in silence. When Tony saw Khalil, he grinned a wild grin. Then he saw Barb's horse with her backpack on top. Lava began to stream down his face as he began to wail. Eric, with one arm, said nothing. When Khalil dismounted, Eric gave him a one-armed hug. "Tell me everything." Khalil placed a hand to his right cheek where Eric's slap had landed. "Do not disobey me like that ever again. Look what has happened. Do you think I would mislead you?" The slap had hurt, yes, but its pain was nothing compared to the pain brought by thoughts of Barb. Khalil stared at the ground, magma dripping from his eye sockets. "Look at him." Eric pointed at Tony, still sniffling. "What can you say to him? Do you know?" Khalil said nothing. A heavy silence pressed down on him. Eric's expression softened. Blue lava streamed down his cheeks. "I thought I'd lost both of you. I thought." His body began to shake. Khalil couldn't help it. He began to cry as well. After an hour of intermittent crying, the group managed to collect themselves. Eric turned to them. "We must get home. Soon the others will begin to hatch. We must be there for them. It will be hard, but we must make sure they have a proper start to life." Khalil cautiously approached Tony. Tony stopped breathing as he listened. "I'm sorry. I know nothing I say will ever make things right, but I am sorry. I wish I had been the one to die." This time, the slap came from Tony. "Do not disrespect Barb like that. She chose to die for you. She didn't have to stand in the way. She chose to. That was her decision. I'm glad you are okay, but this pain will never be forgotten." The group began the last stretch of their journey home in even more silence. "He loved her. Because of me, she is gone. Forever. It is my job to help him get better. I don't know if I can. Barb." When they reached the cave they called home, they found none of the eggs had hatched yet. This was a relief, since newborn Gallons had 2 days to eat or replenish their energy reservoirs before death would claim them. Eating food would stall their energy depletion and increase the rate of energy absorption from magma pits, while simply absorbing energy would stop them from dying for a short amount of time. As they grew and matured, their reservoir grew and their body utilized the energy more efficiently. Newborns started at different levels of intellects and instincts, as well as reservoir sizes and capabilities. This all depended on their parents, DNA their eggs came into contact with, and their source of lava. If any of the newborns in the cave had hatched, it was entirely possible they would neglect their basic needs and leave the magma pools without any food nearby. It was entirely possible they would have been killed as soon as they revealed they were not dragons. The group walked into their main chamber, where Khalil had first met Eric, Tony, and Barb. Khalil stared at the magma pit that Barb had preferred. Tony stared as well, tapping his right middle finger against his leg frantically. "It's all my fault. She chose to die for me to live, yes, but she wouldn't have gone if I had not disobeyed Eric. I won't lose anyone again. Never. I'd rather die than lose anyone ever again. We will get strong. We will protect these young ones, and we will strengthen them as well. This world is dangerous. We must prepare them." Eric approached Tony and placed a hand on his shoulder. Khalil continued to stare into the rainbow magma pit. "Oh, I didn't tell them about these." He gently placed his backpack on the ground and opened it. Eric sent him a curious glance. "Barb did not die for nothing." Tony tore his eyes away from her magma pit. He stared at the backpack. "She died for you. That isn't nothing." "I know. She rescued these." Khalil brought out the obsidian egg with a violet hue. Eric's voice was stern. "That was in the cave?" Why is he upset? Yes. Why would there be Gallum eggs in its nest? "I don't know. We need to get them into the magma pits as soon as possible. I've never heard of such an event. Gallums look for isolated magma pits to prevent their eggs from being smashed and to provide them with the appropriate amount of energy to hatch. This here is the first nursery ever created. Amaterasu was tasked by Chaos to evolve a species, and she chose us. It used to be. One would find a red magma pit and channel their fire within into it over the course of 100 years. The pits would change colors as they ascended to violet color. That's when the parents would leave, giving their child the task of finding them when they were ready and independent. Sometimes, parents would leave early, leaving the magma pit to keep ascending on its own, having received enough energy to complete the process. It's possible for the eggs to hatch before the pit reaches violet status, but those premature gallons are small and tend to have shorter lifespans. We need to get them into an appropriate lava pit right away. Khalil began to approach Barb's pit with a gallon egg when Eric stepped in his path. Look at it. See the violet? It will hatch soon. Even our eggs will deform in these pits. It needs a violet pit. Khalil remembered the violet pit he had passed over when he entered the nursery for the first time. Tony reached into the backpack and pulled out another of the eggs. This one had a green hue to it. Eric reached into the backpack and pulled out the last egg, the one with a yellow hue. As they walked, Eric kept lecturing them. My guess is their parents didn't want to, or couldn't afford to dedicate the 100 years required to hatch them. It could be they were at the end of their lives when they produced the eggs, or maybe they didn't have enough energy for 3 eggs. That would require a lot of energy, even with 2 parents. Such a risky gambit, though. A Muspelheim dragon? They are probably dead. Their children would be left to face the dragons as newborn. That's that's so irresponsible. Eric was shaking with anger before remembering the egg in his hands. Who knows how the DNA from a Muspelheim dragon will affect them? Khalil jumped into the violet pit, feeling the warmth spread through his body. He placed the egg on the floor of the pit and climbed out. Tony found an unoccupied green pit of lava and set the egg inside. He carved a bee into the stone floor around the pit. Khalil did the same. Eric placed his egg into a yellow pit and marked it with a bee. All the eggs we have here were given to me by Amaterasu herself. Every pit in here is connected to her. She's feeling the pits, and she told me the eggs would only need 2 to 3 years to hatch. Even for a devil, that is impressive. I won't question her, I know better, but I find it hard to believe. Really? The unknown voice startled the three of them. Eric's scarlet pit for eyes widened. Amaterasu, with all due respect, why are you here? The tall, thin woman with fleshy black skin and equally black hair chuckled. I told you they would hatch in 2 to 3 years, no? I would like to see how my first batch of the new generation has turned out. Are these two part of them? Eric bowed his head in reverence. No, they found their way here on their own. I could not turn them away. You are soft, Eric. I have not forbidden help with the young ones, though. I plan to see how you have maintained my nursery. Chaos must not be disappointed if I am to pass her challenge. I will be in the area until they hatch, even should that take another year. After they hatch and I have assessed them, I will allow you to raise them how you see fit, as long as you give them combat training. Is that understood? Eric bowed his head even lower. Yes. Khalil stared at her. Her sparkling black dress left her shoulder exposed, revealing 2 circles with an intricate pattern inside of them. They pulsed with amber light. Amaterasu stared at Eric. I see you are upset. Did something happen to my batch? No, ma'am. There were originally 3 of these. Oh, I don't care. As long as these eggs are okay, that's all that matters. Eric said nothing, and Amaterasu grinned at him. Watch your thoughts, Eric. Many would love to take your esteemed position. Tony was quietly trembling from beside the yellow magma pit. He said nothing. Khalil, on the other hand, knew no such restraint. I don't care who you are. She died for me. Learn respect for the dead. Eric's eyes changed from scarlet to a faded red as he stared at Khalil in horror. Amaterasu finally turned her attention to Khalil. Respect for the dead, you say? The dead are gone. Now your friend resides in hell. Do you wish to join her? I can arrange for that. I mean, I'll kill you, in case you're too young to understand. Everything in Muspelheim is under my domain. Learn respect for your queen, for your ruler. You have a nice amount of energy. I can tell you're from the old generation. I had to make some sacrifices in order to speed up their incubation time. Amaterasu gestured to the countless lava pits around them. They are precious to me. You are not. I would advise you to learn from Eric and your friend here. His thoughts are quite murderous as well. Would you two like to give it a go? Khalil saw Eric slowly shake his head. For a brief moment, Khalil wanted to fight. He wanted to pummel her as he had done with the Muspelheim dragon. Then he remembered Bart. I won't be the reason Tony dies. Amaterasu grinned. You. You are a fast learner. Pair that with your energy reservoir, and you just might be useful. Learn how to fight, and I may reward you. I know how to fight. How else would I take a Muspelheim dragon down? Khalil, enough! Hold your tongue. Eric was trembling. Amaterasu let out a low whistle. You took out one of my dragons? Really? You? By yourself? Be honest. Well, not by myself, Barb. So I see. That's how she died, isn't it? Well, I have an offer for you. It's impressive for such a young Gallum to defeat one of my dragons, even if these guys helped you. Eric is the only capable fighter here, and he isn't capable of that. Yes, that explains the missing arm. Here's my offer. If you can become strong enough to defeat another of my dragons, this time by yourself, I will sponsor you as my champion in the next festival. It's only a few years away, too. I have nothing to gain from this, but you would have the opportunity to gain unimaginable strength, maybe even enough to challenge me and not waste my time. Amaterasu smirked at him. I can see you are offering me a false offer. I accept. Eric pinched the bridge of his nose. She turned her attention back to Eric. I have a better idea than me hanging around here. I don't want your kids getting a little overzealous. Take this and channel your fire within into it when the first of my eggs hatch. I will arrive then. Eric took the metal bracelet. It's already resonating with me, so I will feel what you do to it. Treat it with care. With that, dark flames erupted around her and she disappeared. Eric turned to Khalil. Why? Why are you so stubborn? You did not have to accept her challenge. I did. She disrespected Barb. I will not tolerate that. I, I, I understand. We have to train you harder than ever before then. I can't believe she gave you permission to kill one of her dragons. She's very proud of how they've developed in our realm. She must think you will die. She isn't wrong. You saw firsthand how dangerous Muspelheim dragons are. I can only train you so much. Tony approached Khalil and gave him a hug. Thank you. I, too, wanted to fight. I wish I had been given the same offer. Eric shook his head. Both of you are idiots. Fools, even. Tony, I will train you as well. She may not have offered you the same deal, but she did not kill you for your thoughts. Amaterasu has no patience for the weak. I have no idea what this festival is, but it may be possible for her to enter you as well. You have to prove you are worth her time. Red streaks of lava flowed from Eric's eyes. My arm needs to regenerate, and I am tired. Tony, keep an eye on the magma pits for the first shift. After 8 hours have passed, come and get Khalil. He will take the second shift. Khalil, after your shift is done, come and get me. I won't be able to heal such a wound as this while I'm out of our magma pits, but I will give you guys your time to rest and train. For now, Khalil, come with me. Khalil followed Eric into their chamber. Eric sat in the rainbow magma pit next to Khalil's. Khalil sank into his and felt energy start to refill his reservoir. Wow, I didn't realize I was so tired. Khalil, this is not the time to train in terms of combat, but I will tell you your first steps for when it is my shift. Focus on the sensation of the magma replenishing your reservoir. Can you feel it flowing into you? Khalil nodded. Good. You need to rest now so you can watch for the eggs hatching on your shift. When it is my turn, spend the 8 hours focusing on that sensation. That's all you have to do for now. Just focus. When it is Tony's shift, you must rest. In this way, we are not wasting valuable time.